As it turns out, the budget line is much easier than the consumer indifference curve because we only have to make one assumption, and that is that the consumer is going to spend all of the money the consumer has on the two goods it's going to buy. Now we can generalize this assumption in a technical way by writing the following equation. Px times x is the money the consumer is going to spend on good x. When you multiply the price of x times how much x the consumer consumes, that is how much money the consumer consumes in x. Plus, the money the consumer spends buying y is the price of y times how much y the consumer buys. So what we're saying is that the main assumption we're going to make is that when you consider how much money the consumer spends on x and how much money the consumer spends on y, the consumer is going to use all the money the consumer has. And we use M for income. So, so in this case, we have a very simple budget line here, Boyer equation. So all we need to do now in order to transfer this equation into the x and y plane is to solve this equation for y. And that's pretty straightforward. It's a little algebra. So we go with py over y, and we bring the px to the other side equals px times x. And if we divide by price of y to solve for y, we end up with y is equal to m over py px over py times x. So this is a budget line essentially. So we have two terms as usual. We have the first term is y-intercept, m over py, and the second term is the slope of the curve. We can draw this line. So we start with the y-intercept, which is right here, and that's again it's going to be equal to m over py, and then the slope of the curve is going to be determined by px over py, and this is a linear curve. There's nothing, no exponents here. So when we draw this line, we end up with this intercept that's going to be equal to px over py, negative obviously. Now furthermore, we also know that the x-intercept is going to be equal to m over px. So another way of thinking about it is this. This intercept right here, let's call it A, is all the consumer could buy if the consumer only bought X. This intercept right here is all of the consumer could buy, all of the Y the consumer will be able to buy if the consumer only bought Y. So in between those extremes, the consumer have all of these options to buy, to purchase in any place along the budget line. The consumer is using all his money or her money. Any point inside the line, the consumer is not using all of his or her money, and any point beyond the budget line is a point that the consumer cannot achieve.